So let me just start from this one. Just to recap real quick. So we are bringing in the payments. We're bringing in the payments from the payments received sheet from that data set. We made the change of, we define the different field names and we switched to fixed decimal for the payment amount. Then we applied a filter for all the payments that were done before 2020, December 31st. That is because we're looking at the accounts receivables balance as of the end of that year. So we're going to filter any payments that were done after that. Then in order to avoid the matrix, in order to avoid having multiple payments be associated with the same invoice, and then when you do the joint statement, creating that matrix, then we summarize. The only thing we need from this is we need to group all the payments by sales ID, by that invoice. Then we need to sub the payment amounts, and we can do the customer name first. And the payment date max. So what am I doing here is that I'm not grouping by the payment dates. Otherwise, I'll get a bunch of payment dates. What I'm doing is to give me the max, the last payment date, and just record that. These two are not necessary, but I just want to have them. I may need them later. Like, when was the last time we interacted with that client? Well, this would give us that date. The last payment came in on that. So we can call them back and say, hey, the last payment was last year. What's going on, okay? Then we did the left and right joins. Actually, this is going to be left and J joins. A left inner join, I should say. A left inner join. In here, automatically the system is going to replace these duplicate names because we're bringing in the sales ID from the left and the sales ID from the right, and it's just going to be called right sales. We could name it. We did say that the left is only going to bring us those invoices with no payments. The J is going to bring us those invoices with payments, but we don't know what that payment amount was, so we need to make sure that we subtract it to find out what the balance is. So in the next step, we pancake them together using a union. So we pancake the left and the middle, the left and the join. If you recall from IDEA, in IDEA, you have the ability to do these two together, the left and the middle, by saying choose all the primary records on the left. If you recall the way we did our IDEA projects, right? So we looked at all the left side, including the whole circle, including the middle one. But here you got to join it. So we do a left join and then we do the union. Once we process the union, then we're going to have an issue, right? We need to find out what is the balance as of this date. And this is where we can do an if statement. So maybe what I should do is put another big documentation thing. Let me put all of this in a container to hide it as I recreate all of this. Let me delete this. All right, and then I hide it. You with me? Mucho bueno. All right. So now that we have all this data, we need to find out how to come up with the balance. And the balance is going to be done this way. It's going to be the sales total minus the sum of payment amounts. But we have a problem. If we have a null value, this system won't compute it. Do you want to try it real quick? Let's just do it so we can test it out. So let me get a formula. So this is a formula. Where's my formula, guys? Here, formula. So if I have a formula and I say, let's create a new column that we're going to call balance due. And your fixed decimal is 19.2. This will be your sales total minus the sum of payment amounts. And if we run it, by the way, let me turn this off as well. If we run this, then you'll find out that I'm going very slow here, but you can see the sales total. If the sales total was 1027, if this is the amount of the sales total and there's a null payment, what should be my balance due? The sales total. Absolutely. My sales total should be, but there's no such thing. In fact, this didn't even get created. Why not? Where's my balance? Do you see a guy's balance due?
I think it's not running because we have a thing for the download.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let me delete it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see if that's did it. Nope. So this one has information. This has, so this has the left. So I have the sales total with no payments. This one has sales totals with payments, and this joins them together. Right? And then this one is gonna, okay, I disabled it. I'm sorry, I had disabled the expression. So now it should work. And you see the balance. I had turned it off, the expression, by clicking on the null. All right, so now you see that this is a problem. The balance due is giving us a null value, and it shouldn't be a null value. The reason why is because it cannot compute null values. You cannot deduct or operate any null value. It's like dividing by zero. So we need to clean this out. And how do we do this? The way we're going to do it is by creating an if statement. So I'm going to get rid of this by putting it on my notepad, and I'm going to do an if statement formula. So I can start with if C, then T, else F, and if. So if C, meaning is the sum of payment amounts null. So we got to identify, inspect the sum of payment amount and find out if that is null. There is a formula, a function that is called is null. Is null. And what that formula does, it actually inspects whether something is null or not. So in this section here, we're saying, is this null? And if it is, then what should be the value of our balance due? The sales total. Absolutely. The sales total. And so this should be it. The sales total. Otherwise, if it is not null, then we need to compute it. And so we're going to use the F. We're going to take the sales total minus the sum of payment up. And then we end the year. I know I went a little fast. So let's recap. So first we inspect if this sum of payment amount is null, because if it is, then it's not going to compute. So then we say if it is, then just bring the sales total over to the balance total. If it's not null, if there's an amount, then just subtract it from the sales total, and that should be my balance. And this, give me a thumbs up. None of my teaching. Just on. Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to run it. So when I look at the results, I can see that this is my balance due now. All right. So now we have a balance due. So can we export my balance due? Can we summarize it? Yes. Let's do a little summary here of number one. Add my balance due sum so we can get my control total right there. And then I ain't going to count. Why don't we count the invoices and then count the customers as well. Let's see how many customers we have. Let's just count distinct customers. So we're summing the balance due. Oh, we should also sum the payments and the other stuff. Yeah, so let's add the sum. Where are the payments? Sum of payments, let's add them as a sum. And then also the sales total. And I'm going to put this balance due all the way to the end by using this little thing. So we have, and then I'm going to start with the first. So we're going to count the number of invoices, count the number of unique customers, sum the total of sales, sum the payment amounts, and sum the balances. Okay, any questions? Let me go ahead and do the in and out again. And I'm going to bring the output data from here. I want to make sure that we export this to the same recent file that we had, the 2025 RoboAuditor, and we're going to call this ARs, or account receivables. Now, it is the same sheet. We are going to create, we're going to overwrite the sheet. We're not recreating it, we're connecting to the same spreadsheet that was up there, and then we're replacing that. Yeah? Any questions? Let me save this.
Auditor stuff. The 2025?
It's actually this is the same one that we used over here to add. So it's the same file that you created as the export over here. I just happened to name it 2025 RoboAuditor XLX.
But it's this one, right?
It is the first one.
This.
No, that's not it. It's the one you're creating to export the results.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah.
Lost. Okay.
Maybe I should call it RoboAuditor results instead, but it's a little late because I started like that. So if you're listening to this video, make sure you don't confuse those two. Thank you. I appreciate that question. All right. So what about this? So we have these as a result, right? Now we're going to keep going. Now we got to find out. Now we're doing this early. Now we got to find out how many of these customers went over their credit limit. Well, let's find out if you got this first. Let's run it. So if you did this right, your results should give you 1,254 invoices from 751 clients, summing a total of 11 billion. Yeah, 1,113,141,372 dollars. And if you saw how many years, then yeah, okay. So then also it's fine, yes. 247, 690, and so the payments were 622, and I'm gonna give you those details on the actual assignment so you can have those numbers so you can double check your book. And then the balance should be about $490 million as your balance. I know for a fact that we only have about $2 billion worth of credit lines. So there's something wrong here. Somehow, I know just by looking at my credit file and the control total I have from there that we're not doing things right and that we're extending credit, or this company is extending credit to clients that have not even gone through the proper credit checks. So let's go find out who is not even authorized to have a credit. And if they do have a credit line, have we checked if they have exceeded that? Thank you so much. And so I'm going to kind of bring this over here, but I'm going to keep using this balance due amount. And I'm going to bring this other guy here. So let's just do it from the beginning. I did it for the other guy. So let's do an input again. So we're going to bring the same input. We're going to set up we're going to bring the recent file. By the way, this is the accounting 146 2024S Excel file that you used. We're just using the customer's file. And so now that we have that, we can clean it up. And we just do the same. We're going to do the cleanup. Where are you? By just doing the select. I should just go to my favorites. So here's my select. And then let's go check the values. So customer, name, address, city, state, and zip code, they'll all be strings. Credit limit should be what? Fixed decimal 19.2. Thank you. And so all right, now that we have this, we don't need to summarize it. We can then bring the join directly from here. So we're going to bring another join over here, but can somebody tell me at what level should I bring it? So we know this is going to be the right join. So where should I bring this left join from where? Did you set the formula? Yeah. So the formula already has all the records with the balances that are due. So I need to look at the balances due to see who is there. So how do I join these, by the way? I'm going to join them not by client, not by sales ID, but by customer ID. Because now we're going to aggregate the balance by each client. Oh, shoot. Do we have all the balances by each client? I don't know. Do we?
There are significant.
No. So let's double check that. Let me run this. Yeah. So no, we have, so we got to summarize this one. I think I had made that mistake. Look at me. I'm always talking about making sure you don't do the matrix. But indeed, we do have a matrix. So I need a summary over here instead. So for those of you in the 12 o'clock class, you got to make this correction, right? Speaking to the 12 o'clock. For those of you that are going to actually look at this video. All right. So, all right. Okay. So where are you? Did I lose you somewhere? Right here.
It's okay.
You're gonna see, okay.
Think back from here.
So did we get this formula? So we got all the way here, all the way here. We did the import, the select, and then the join. And then from this formula, we're going to create a summary. And let me start with that. And I'm going to stop for a second. We're going to summarize all of our debt by customer ID. And then we can sum. Well, we had this already. No, we had it by sales count. Customer. Yeah, that's not going to work for us. Okay, so we're going to summarize group by our customer ID. And then we're going to say this is our sum of payment amounts. And then we're going to sum the balances. Why don't we just do the sales as well? We reorganize it. What else do we need to count? What else do you think we need? We don't need any of this quantity, any of these sales dates, none of that. I guess we should probably bring a name of a customer if we had it, but we don't have it, so that's okay. Right? That's all we need. And then when we do the left join, we're going to join customer ID with customer ID from that summary table. So let me go back to the summary. We summarize all the sales, the payments, and the balances by client now. So we can see how much they have of a balance due across all their invoices. Then we're going to join it with their customer file that gives us their credit limit. If you see down there, the credit limit. So then we're going to join them together using customer ID and run it. And the left side is going to give us those customers that don't have a credit limit. Those customers, which are seven of them, that don't have a credit limit, but they have a balance with us. It's pretty crazy. All right. Then the J's are going to give us those clients that have a balance, but they also have a credit limit. We don't know if they've exceeded it or not. We just know that they're in there, right? So we know their balance due, which is right here, the sum of balance due. And then we have the credit limit over here. And then the right side is going to give us those clients with no balances. Which won't matter. What is this response? Maybe I should throw in a cleaner right here. Let's do a data cleanser. Why not? Okay, now we don't see those empty comments in there. Wonderful. So that data cleanser does a really good job of helping us, right? Okay, so how do we figure out how many of your clients went over their credit limit? Now, we got to do the same thing. We got to do the union right here with the left and the join. Is this making sense? Or have I lost someone yet? Irving?
Same numbers that are connecting.
Connecting the database? At which level?
I'm going to show you the thing with this things. I get a Google something. Okay, so can I see the import? Just got a file. Okay, the other one. Then that. See this one. That's good. Okay. All right. Okay, right. Somehow we have that Microsoft taxes. Okay, now you're doing all of these, but you're also missing the steps, 1, 2, 3 steps. So I'll let you watch the that. This one, you would find this in Microsoft Excel. This is legacy. Mm-hmm.
Cha-cha-cha-chan. So now we have this union, right? This pancake, and we have the same issue here. So on this, when we run it, we have the same issue of the data. In order to find out what is over the credit limit, I'm going to look at the credit limit of these folks minus the credit limit and then figure it out. Right? Now, this is going to be tough because we got to do 3 if statements. So we got to do a next statement with a formula. So formula goes here. And so I'm going to do a nested if statement. First, I'm going to define a new column over the credit limit amount. This is going to be a fixed decimal with 19 and 2. And cha-cha-cha-chan. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. How do we do this? If, then, else if, then, else, if, and if. What? Okay. If C, then T, else if C2. So basically what we're doing is we're going to do one test. If this is true, then do this. Otherwise, do another test all over again and close. Yeah? If this is true, do something. Otherwise, start a new if statement with a new test. And if it's true, do something. Otherwise, do something else. And then end the whole thing, right? And so the very first thing we got to find out is if our credit limit amount is null. Because if it's null and they have a balance, because we know they have a balance here, then the over the credit limit amount is going to be whatever their balance due is. Isn't that true? So let's do this. So is null, open parentheses, get rid of the C, and then we can do the credit limit. So if it's null, the credit limit, then what is their over the credit limit amount? Well, it would happen to be the sum of the balance due. Else if, so if they do have a credit limit amount, then what we need to figure out is how much have they exceeded it, if at all. So I can start with the negative. I can say if my credit limit, I can start with my credit limit. Which way do you want to do it? Credit limit minus payment amount or vice versa? How do you want to test it? So if my credit limit minus my balance due is less than zero, if I had $1,000 of credit limit and my balance due is 2,000, then I'm going to have a negative amount, right? So then I've over exceeded my credit limit. By how much? Then my over the credit limit, I can flip it. I can just flip it. Or why don't we just flip it from the beginning and say, if my balance due minus my credit limit is greater than zero, then that should be my over the credit limit amount, isn't it? Otherwise, it's zero. I gotta stop doing the commas. I gotta do then with my, so now I gotta look at the context, all right? So now the context of these formula, according to this software, right? Because I'll be seeing commas like the cell, that's wrong. If this is null, then do this. Else if something, something, then this. Else this, and then we end it. Then we end it. Let me make sure that ran. And see if that makes sense. So let's go check out a couple of them just to sample because we trust and verify. 480, 100. So this guy had no customer file and their balance due was 480.98. That works, right? This, on the other hand, had a balance of 94,255.20. Oh, let's go to another one. So this person right here had a balance of 388,592, but they had a great credit limit, so they're not over the credit limit. You know? Some of these are going to be over the credit limit. So this guy, on the other hand, had a balance of 1.2 million, and their credit limit was only 1.05 million. So they're over the credit limit by this much, 150,000. And I can further clean this out by getting rid of those that have a zero, right? And I can just create a little filter here and say, well, let me filter those whose over the credit limit is greater than zero. Greater than zero. And those that are over their credit limit are 27 records. So there's only 27 people that were not authorized over the credit limit. Much better than what I had done in the class before. I rarely say. So sorry, 12 o'clockers. Yeah. So what am I getting over here? Those that have those that are not over the credit limit, which is fine. So now let's go ahead and summarize this. outputting this data. We're going to use the same spreadsheet again from the recent files to do the RoboAuditor results. And I'm going to call this over the credit limit. And just for purposes of verification, I'm going to create a summary here. What am I going to summarize? The results. And I'm going to say I want to add the sum of, let's look at balance due and over the credit limit amounts, two different things. Then I'm going to see the number of unique customers. And that's it. Let me look at this. So let me run it one more time. And let's check this out. This was your exam.